Hello everyone, Joe Woods with AF Windlings Food Service. I'm here today to talk to you about the importance of sharp tools in the kitchen and how you can make sure that you have them. So first, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the difference between honing and sharpening. A lot of people have seen these before, and a lot of people don't really know how to use them. So this is called a honer. This isn't really a sharpener. So what this does when you run your knife on it is if you looked at the edge of this knife blade under a microscope, after you've used it, you'd see the edge of that blade looks kind of crazy and wobbly. And what happens is all those molecules get misaligned by your use. When you hone a knife, it aligns those molecules back up straight, which makes it work sharper, but doesn't actually make the edge sharper. So you should hone pretty much every time you use a knife in the kitchen. A lot of people might not do that, but you really should. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly and then talk about sharpening and different ways you can do it. So with honing, it's really easy. I've seen people do all kinds of different techniques, but the best and most effective way to hone is to take a honing rod in your left hand or whatever your offhand is, 45-degree angle in front of you like this, take your knife, lay it flat on that honing rod and just raise it up. We're looking for about 10 degrees, 15 degrees. Because remember, we're just lining those molecules back up. And you need to evenly run your knife on both sides to make sure that both sides of your edge are even. So if you just lift that blade up a little bit and run it from top to bottom and use your wrist to make sure that the knife doesn't catch you on your other arm. So you see how I bend my wrist when I come from top to bottom. Now I'm going to take it to the back side and do it again. So when you start out honing a knife, it's just like playing golf or playing tennis or anything else. Don't go full speed right away. Learn the proper motion, then you'll be able to speed up as you learn the proper motion. This isn't actually sharpening. So honing is different from sharpening in that when you sharpen, you use something abrasive like a whetstone or like a belt, something that actually abrades the edge and removes a little bit of it to bring it back to sharp. So this is a whetstone here. It's called a tri-stone because there are 3 different levels of grit on these stones. There's coarse, medium, and fine. So before you use a whetstone, you need to put some honing oil on it. That's why it's called a whetstone. That oil actually soaks into that stone and helps move your blade across the stone. So whetstones are about the same. You want to lay it flat, lift it just a little bit off, about 10 to 15 degrees. You start at one end and run your edge all the way across. Now it's important, just like with honing, flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. Now I would start on the coarsest stone, work my way to medium, work my way to fine, doing about 10 passes on each stone, and your knife's going to be nice and sharp. Now, if you're uncomfortable with using a tri-stone and you want an easier option, an electric sharpener works great. I would recommend that you stay away from the electric sharpeners with the metal wheels inside. Definitely use a sharpener with belts. These models aren't that expensive, and a lot of times they're more affordable than the big electric ones, and they work extremely well. There's a guide here where you can just set the angle that you want the knife to be sharpened at, depending on the knife it is. This is a chef knife, so I'm going to do it at about 20 degrees. And then there are guides here where you just pull the knife through, and there are great instructions that come along with these units as well. So you want to make sure you pull the knife through evenly on both sides, just like with honing, just like with sharpening on a stone, just like this. So I would do that about 5 or 6 times with each grit of belt. There are 5 different grits available with this unit, from a coarse belt all the way down to a fine belt, and that would get your knife nice and sharp. So sharpening your knives is very important. You should do it about every 3 to 6 months, depending on how much you use them, how hard you are on them. And remember, there's a difference between honing and sharpening. Honing just lines those molecules back up on the edge of your knife. Sharpening actually removes some material, makes the knife work much, much better. And a sharp knife is much safer than a dull knife too. If the tool does what you want it to, it's much, much safer. So, thank you for joining me today. Make sure you check out foodshow.mealticket.com to learn more information about this, about our products, our services, and some great deals as well. Thank you.